Hey everyone, welcome back. So today we're going to be looking at my Wonderswan collection. Hey everyone, welcome back. So I have wanted to do this video for a really long time, and I finally have a Wonderswan color. So I'll give you a little bit of context about what the Wonderswan is if you're not familiar. This is the device, and it looks a little bit like a Game Boy Advance, and that's because it is a little bit like a Game Boy Advance. It's basically Bandai's version of the Game Boy Advance. They made their own handheld system in the late 90s, early 2000s, and this is it. It's comparable in power and graphics to the Game Boy Advance, maybe a little tiny bit lower, but the games look really amazing on it. And it was exclusively released in Japan. It was designed by Gunpei Yokoi. I'm sure most of you already know this who are familiar with the system, but he's the creator of the Game Boy, and the special gimmick about this system is you can play it horizontally, like this, and you can also play it vertically, like this. Although not a ton of games support the vertical aspect ratio, there are a few vertical shooters and things like that that do. So all that is to say, I have wanted this for a crazy long time. I finally picked one up on my last trip to Japan when I was living in Japan, and I'm going to talk about my whole Wonderswan collection, all of the games, what I'm excited to play, what I'm going to do with this, which is actually I'm going to install a backlight mod. I actually have the kit for the backlight mod already. I just need to install it. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to talk a little bit about the modded kit in a separate video. But right now I just wanted to talk about the collection. So what do you say we go ahead and get into it? So first things first, before I show the games, I have one little accessory I wanted to share, and that's the Wonderswan headphone adapter. And the reason I'm sharing this is because the system itself doesn't have a headphone port. It just has this little port on the side that allows you to plug in an adapter to plug in headphones. But the adapter goes for a really, really high price on eBay. I think sometimes upwards of $80. I found this in Super Potato in Ikebukuro for around $35 or $40. So I snapped it up because when I play my handheld games, I really enjoy the music, and I like wearing a pair of headphones to really get the best quality sound I can. And I can do that with this, and I didn't want to spend close to $100 to do that. So that's a little accessory there. Now I'm going to get into the game. So the Wonderswan Color can play black and white Wonderswan games and Wonderswan Color games, and some games that are labeled Swan Crystal games, which are really just Wonderswan Color games with special branding. And we're going to start with the original Wonderswan games. Starting with this Mobile Suit Gundam MSVS game. I actually picked this up in 2019 in Japan for just 100 yen, and I saw this in many retro game stores there this year that were like 1,000 yen, sometimes 1,200 yen. So it just goes to show you how much the retro gaming prices in Japan have gone up just in the last couple of years. But this is like a little top-down Gundam strategy game that uses, I think it uses like some sort of card-based mechanics. I'm not entirely sure on that, but curious to give this one a try. This one I'm very, very excited for. So this is Harobots, and it is a Pokemon-style monster collecting game, but you are collecting robots, so I guess a robot collecting game, starring Haro from the Gundam series, and you go around and collect all different super robots, not just from Gundam. I can see on the back here you've got some Aura Battler Dumbine and a few other super robots, so really, really excited to try this one. And Gacho, this is one that's very bizarre. It is starting to go up in price a little bit, but I was able to get a decent deal for 6,900 yen, which was probably around like $45 or $50, which is not super cheap, but compared to what it goes for on eBay, that was a steal. And yeah, I was always curious about this game, so I wanted to pick it up and give it a try while I had a chance. And last but not least, for the black and white games, I have Puyo Puyo 2. So this is just pretty much straight up Puyo Puyo. If you've played one, you've kind of played them all. They have some little twists, but Puyo Puyo The only downside to this is because it is black and white, even if you play it on the color system, they don't colorize like Game Boy Color colorizes black and white Game Boy games. So it's really difficult to play a a color-based puzzler in black and white. What differentiates the Poyos is texture. So some have like a vertical stripe pattern, some will have a checkerboard pattern, and there's like 3 or 4 different types of checkerboard patterns. And at a high level, when the speed gets going, it's really difficult for me to distinguish between those patterns. So I found it a little bit difficult to play. Maybe it'll be easier when I have the backlight, but a little bit disappointed in this one, but it's still Puyo Puyo. Now moving on to the color games, these are the ones I'm really excited about. This is Gunpei, so this is named after Gunpei Yokoi, and it's a puzzle game. It's a little bit hard to explain, but you have lines and different angles, and you need to collect the lines, and then this little like bolt of electricity travels through the lines, and you try to clear lines. People said really great things about this game, so I had very high expectations, but I didn't find it to be as addicting as people online said it would be. I guess to each their own, but I'm definitely more of a Puyo Puyo magical drop style puzzle fan than this style. But anyway, this is the color version, which is a little bit more rare and expensive than the black and white version. Next up, Mr. Driller. This is a huge one for me. It was one of the last games I picked up when I was in Japan, and I think of all the games, this one I will probably play the most and I was the most excited about. I love Mr. Driller. I loved it on the DS, and the graphics in this version are fantastic. It looks gorgeous, the colors are great, and it's classic Mr. Driller gameplay. And the box art is just gorgeous. So cute. So very excited to play lots and lots of Mr. Driller. Okay, this is a really interesting one. This is Star Hearts, and it's a Zelda-style top-down action RPG, and it has a Native American theming, which is very rare for video games and really interesting. So this one is starting to go up in price as well, and I've heard this is actually one that you can kind of play without too much of a language barrier, and it also has really nice graphics. So next up, I have 3 Digimon games, starting out with Digimon Battle Spirit. This one was actually ported to the Game Boy Advance, although exclusive to the Wonderswan is you can link to a Digi device, so that's really cool, and I think you can trade Digimon that way, or there's some additional features. But this is just a pretty simplistic 2D fighting game. I played a bit of it. It didn't really wow me, but maybe I'll give it another shot. Next up, this is the Digimon card game. I'm really excited to try this one. Basically Digimon card game digital version. I'm a huge fan of the Pokemon TCG Game Boy Color games, so really curious how this will compare and stack up to those. And last we have Digimon 02, and this one, well, all 3 of them actually link up to Digi devices, but this one is pretty cool. It's just a Digimon RPG for the Wonderswan, so really curious to check this one out. Big fan of Digimon RPGs for various systems, so I think this will be a lot of fun. Okay, now we're getting into ones I'm really excited for, starting with Front Mission. The original Front Mission for Super Nintendo was ported to the Wonderswan Color. Can we just look at that box art, that gorgeous Amino box art on there? But this is a port of the Super Famicom game. It was a Japan exclusive, and the Wonderswan version, obviously Japan exclusive as well. And it is a mech RPG by Square, back when they were called Squaresoft. So I'm very excited to play this one. I've wanted to play it for many years, and I'm gonna get to play it on the Wonderswan. Next up, I've got a couple of anime games, Hunter x Hunter and Inuyasha. So both of these games were really affordable. A lot of these games you'll find for super cheap, and I don't know, I was curious to just build my collection and try them out, but they look a little bit like text adventure, kind of visual novel style games, so not sure they'll be my cup of tea, but it's a nice little thing to bolster the collection and to give a try, and I also really like both of these animes. Next up is one game I also picked up in 2019, and I've just had sitting around here without a system to play it on, and that's One Piece Grand Battle. So this is a really nice looking 2D fighting game with gorgeous sprite-based graphics, and this is supposed to be very, very import friendly as well. Not a big language barrier. And yeah, just a cool little 2D fighter. The graphics and sprites kind of remind me of Jump Superstars or Jump Ultimate Stars, if you remember those games on the original DS. So yeah, excited to try this one out for sure. Next up is Final Fantasy II. So this one came with my big box of Final Fantasy, which is the bundle I bought my Wonderswan with. And yeah, this is the version of Final Fantasy II that was ported to the Game Boy Advance and Final Fantasy 1 and 2 Dawn of Souls. And just a fun little fact is all of the Game Boy Advance ports of the Super Nintendo Final Fantasy games are actually based off of their Wonderswan color version. So that's where all the updated sprites and all that comes from this Wonderswan color version. So probably won't play this because I played it on the Game Boy Advance, but it's nice to have in the collection. And last but not least, one game I'm also very, very excited to play is Blue Wing Blitz. So this game is made by the team that made Final Fantasy Tactics, and it is a turn-based tactics RPG starring like old school, I guess World War I style biplanes and things like that. It's very, very cool, and it has awesome graphics and awesome character designs, as you can see on the box art there. And yeah, also by Squaresoft before they were Square Enix, and I love Final Fantasy Tactics, so I think I'll really enjoy this one as well. I think of this whole list of games, probably these four are the big ones that I really wanted to play on Wonderswan. Front Mission, Star Hearts, Mr. Driller, and Blue Wing Blitz. I think everything else is just icing on the cake, but I'm super excited to play those four games. And I don't think I showed it yet. But let me just share this box art. How cool is that? Just a really nice little box set for your Wonderswan with all that nice Final Fantasy artwork on there. Really cool package. I actually found this at the Suragaya in Shizuoka. I will link to that video if you guys want to check it out. It's the best retro gaming store I've ever seen in Japan. So if you're going, I highly recommend going to that store. It's like a 10 out of 10 or even 11 out of 10 retro gaming store. Best prices, best selection, you have to go. So that's where I picked this up. I'm very happy I did. And yeah, I'm going to do a follow-up where I share the modded game, where I share the modded console and all of that. But I just wanted to do a little quick video going over the collection. And yeah, that's pretty much it. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, definitely give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button. And if you want to see more videos like this, consider becoming a channel member. I'm doing membership only videos now, just some little extras for people who want to support the channel. I'm doing that instead of a Patreon, so I'm doing at least one exclusive video a month, sometimes more, and there's a bunch banked in there right now that you could check out. It's a tiered subscription, so it starts out low and then you can give pretty much as you want. And yeah, it's a great way to support the channel and get some extra content, and there's extra Japan videos and things in there too. And yeah, also consider joining our Discord. We have a great little Discord community going on right now, and that's totally free. There's a link at the top of the page. You can come chat and hang out about anime and retro games and Gunpla and all kinds of fun stuff. And that's pretty much it. I don't know if it's happened yet, but I'm also going to be doing a Whatnot stream, so might be streaming on there often. I don't know how it's going to go, but definitely consider following me on Whatnot. I'll put a link down below, and I think that's everything. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye!